Finally, we go to Terre Haute. So what a great example of a city in stagnation, as the Indianapolis Star once called it, quote, a model of stagnation. It is pretty much a booming town, and it's been on the decline since World War II. So after World War II, it's been a slow decline in manufacturing here. So a lot of what's kind of keeping Terre Haute in the game is, like I said beforehand, it's kind of a regional center. If you look around Terre Haute, look around that red arrow, you don't see a lot of other big urban clusters, with the nearest one maybe being up there, to the north, Danville, Illinois, of course, Indianapolis. But here, what you also see is the role of a university. So Indiana State University, not a huge university, but nonetheless, it helps to kind of keep the economy going, although it's very cyclical. When students are in, the economy is great. When students are gone for the summer, kind of everything kind of slows down big time. But nonetheless, this helps to understand how this area is stagnation and not seeing massive declines like one would expect. Here we see the bridge over the Wabash River. If you ever driven on I-70, you know the smell of Terre Haute. So it's kind of has this manufacturing legacy that still is there today. Now this is kind of an example of a swing and a miss, just to use an example of this. And so back about 5 or 6 years ago, Pfizer was a pharmaceutical manufacturer that opened up a manufacturing facility here in Terre Haute. So this was seen as a very, very good thing, because this is going to bring in some higher wage jobs. Because a lot of these are, Pfizer employees. These are people who sell drugs, but also are making drugs. So it's like researchers. But what they were doing was they're making a facility to make the drug called Exubera. What it is an inhaled insulin drug. And so a lot of the people who need insulin, diabetics, or overweight, obese people. And so it's a little bit harder to find a vein when you're, trying to shoot up to do whatever people who are diabetic do. So instead, it was seen as to be much more effective to actually have an inhaler as far as getting that insulin into the person. However, what ended up happening was quickly the patent ran out, and so competition from generic drug manufacturers, essentially overseas, aka globalization, essentially no longer did they need to do this, and so they're getting this outcompeted because generic drug manufacturers were undercutting them big time, and so essentially we had this growth that was followed by a subsequent decline. And so this is an example of a swing and a miss. Here we see in Terre Haute population pyramid. We can see those college students, and once again, not much of a population boom like we would see there in Lafayette or Bloomington. But very similar to Evansville, they do have this mounting problem of an increasingly aging population. So what's going to happen when those individuals retire? So this is a key concern there in Terre Haute. Also, you will notice a sex ratio imbalance in Terre Haute, particularly there in younger and middle-aged females. And so a lot of this reflects manufacturing, the types of jobs you find in Terre Haute. So you don't find a lot of tertiary sector jobs in this particular area. And so that's something also that's leading to this stagnation we see here. Which this stagnation you can see in a general decline over time, but what this really shows is the cyclical nature of just the disemployment and just the economy there in Terre Haute. So essentially, when students are there, it goes up. When students are gone, it goes down. And so you can see the declines during Christmas break, spring break, and summer break, but then also the increases there during the times, the semesters when students are there. And I love using headlines to kind of showcase what's going on in different areas. So here's the headline in Terre Haute that they're banning feeding the unsterilized calves. And so that shows you the key issues there in Terre Haute. So it kind of shows you the stagnation, but also they got a cat problem.